back to another edition of the Second Half Draft Show. I am your host, Juice, joined by Hadley and Drew. And as you see in the title, we're going to be covering Drew and Hadley's respective top 10 prospects at the running back and cornerback positions. I know it was a challenge getting it down to 10. Those are two of the deepest positions in this particular draft class, in the 2023 NFL draft class. And, if we're talking about running backs, we're talking about as good a class, if not better, than the fabled 2017 group that included Christian McCaffrey, Dalvin Cook, Leonard Fournette, Alvin Kamara, Aaron Jones. The list goes on and on and on. You know what I mean? So really, really impressive group here. And again, it was a challenge. I can see it. I can see it from the work that Hadley and Drew did, the copious amounts of film study to really nail it down to 10. So we're going to jump right in. Let's jump right into the running backs. We'll start with the running backs, and then we'll finish up with the cornerbacks. All right. And just for those of you following along, you will see Hadley and Drew's respective draft grades for each of these prospects. And to give you a sense of what our grading scale consists of, not so much what it consists of, that is proprietary, but the actual grades, what they mean. So obviously, one, we affectionately consider a 1 a couch potato GM. That means you're one of us, right? We probably shouldn't see any ones in this group or any group for that matter. And then, of course, 2 undrafted, 3 priority UDFA. 4 and 5 are both day 3, one being traits-based selection, the other being a backup rotational player. That backup rotational player typically can make an earlier impact, but we don't necessarily see that individual as a long-term viable starter. 6 is going to be a day 2 eventual starter. 7, day 2 plug and play, so they're ready to go out the gate. 8, 9, and 10 are all day 1 starters, and then, of course, from 8 to 10, we have Pro Bowl, All-Pro, and Hall of Fame. So with that being said, we're going to get into the 10th ranked running back for Hadley and Drew. And again, as I said, they had a challenge. Hadley had a little bit of consternation. He actually has 2 running backs coming in tied as his 10th overall running back in the draft class. That would be Tyjae Spears and Mohamed Ibrahim of Tulane and Minnesota, respectively. And Drew has Tank Bigsby out of Auburn. So, Drew, I want to start with Bigsby. Your thoughts on the player? Why do you have him ranked 10th?
CPGM mute.
You're on mute, Drew.
Oh, man. Come on.
My bad. So the reason I have Tank Bigsby 10, he probably should be higher, but I don't think he got the love that he should have gotten over there at Auburn due to what they were doing, how they were using him. I didn't really know that he'd catch the football at the backfield, first of all, until later in the season when they started to throw the football to him to be able to make people miss. And I've actually be able to catch the football. But I'm just going to read off a couple of my notes here, if you don't mind. He reminds me a little bit of a DeMarco Murray. I think I told you guys that in our messenger, in terms of he's a little less athletic than a DeMarco Murray, obviously coming out of college. But he's fantastic. I believe he is in space. He's a physical running back. When I first watched him the year previous, I thought that he was actually just a physical world beater, a grinder. And watching him this year, he turned into a guy who can make people miss in space. I really, really wish he got more run there at Auburn. But I mean, it is what it is in terms of, who you're behind and what you're being asked to do there.
As well, I'm on mute too. Hadley, you have Spears and Mohamed Ibrahim. Let's start with Spears. He makes your top 10. Really impressive at the Senior Bowl. What do you like about him?
Yeah, I got wind of Tyjae Spears a little earlier. I know I said to you in the group chat. I'm like, yo, you guys seen this running back from Tulane? And then after that, he just went on to have a beast. A bowl game against was it USC? He went off there, and then he went to the Senior Bowl and probably was one MVP at the Senior Bowl, the best player out there. And he was just so explosive. If you give him daylight, he could go the distance. Also showed his versatility, the hands out of the backfield, can help in a quick passing game, and super elusive in space. Tyjae Spears, I think, is a sleeper in this draft class. I think a lot of people know about him now, but He could just help you in so many ways. Some negatives I do have on him though is sometimes he's not as patient. He'll try to bounce it. He's always trying for that big run, but and ball security issues. Whether it's not catching passes, he has a couple drops, fumbling the ball. Also had a couple of those. So that's where Tajay Spears lands in my top 10. And then you got Mo Ibrahim, man. Drew probably have him higher than me. But when I watched him, man, it's super effective. Has patience, the vision, and he's just hard to bring down, man. He's just physical after the contact, and it's just the injury with him. So that's why teams are, probably going to slide him down the board. He might be a day 3 guy, but he's one of those day 3 players that could be an eventual starter and start for a football team eventually.
Yeah, what's going to hurt Mo Ibrahim is as you mentioned, the injury history. He's a little bit of an older player. Teams typically skew younger at the running back position. And then a lot of volume. He has a lot of carries, a lot of wear and tear on those legs, but a incredible ball carrier, really underappreciated ball carrier. I think Ibrahim, when he was hurt, I think he was rehabbing. He was actually coaching the running back position, right? Minnesota has a tendency to for whatever reason, those players, they really develop in that system, and they stay 4, 5, 6 years when you start considering the pandemic waiver year and that whole scenario when you factor that in. So really nice ball carrier. Like you said, Hadley, he's going to come at a value because of the injury history and all the volume, all the carries that he took while at Minnesota. As you can see in the top left corner, you can also see where Hadley kind of has each prospect projected. So Mo Ibrahim, Tajay Spears, both inside the top 50. Spears actually in the top 100. So we're thinking maybe a day 3 or day 2 third round pick, early 4th round selection. All right.
Hold on, before you go. I'm gonna derail it. Gotta derail it real quick.
Derail it, bro.
Yeah, I gotta derail. You're not gotta do it, bro, because I'm looking at my notes. I ain't really get to them. So here we go with Tanks Bibby. I'm sorry. I'm messing up. I want to use a more colorful word, but we can't do that here. I'm gonna mess this thing up. So Tanks Bigsby, in terms of my notes, I have a knack to press the edge of blocks and bursts off the edge of it or off of it. Has hands and can win in the passing game. Just needs a shot. Reminds me of DeMarco Murray. Obviously, I spoke about that. Has bursts that he uses at the right time. I think that's big because that can determine you breaking a tackle or taking it to distance. Great combo of speed to power, give you either or at any time. And again, I talked about him being able to make you miss with his stop and start ability. So go ahead. Sorry.
I'm getting a little bit of an echo from you, Drew. I mean, that's excellent analysis on Bigsby. Just check that echo for me if you don't mind. Let's move on to RB9, the 9th ranked running back for Drew and Hadley, respectively. Hadley, you have Sean Tucker, the explosive back out of Syracuse, and Drew has Roschon Johnson, backup to Bijan Robinson out of Texas. I'm going to start with you, Hadley, and Sean Tucker in terms of his skill set, what you like about him, and what do you think his role will be at the NFL level?
Yeah, Sean Tucker, I think he's kind of being forgotten about by the draft community because, a lot of these other running backs are a lot sexier than him at the top of the list. Some guys are like A-Chains, the explosiveness. We're going to talk about him later, but I think Sean Tucker's kind of getting lost in the sauce a little bit, but, he follows his blocks really well, patient runner. I think he does everything well, whether it's running, receiving, blocking. I think he's good in all levels. And then his burst and acceleration just takes advantage of space. He kind of gets to you really quickly. Like you said, okay, he's right there. And then all of a sudden he's pressing you. And now you have to make a decision, either get ran over or get blown by. So, I think Sean Tucker, he possesses all of those traits. So, I have him as where do I have him? Like a top 100 player. Mm-hmm. What else you asked? I forgot the other question. Like where I see
his role at the next level.
Yeah, I think he could be a 3-down back. I think he could be an eventual starter. Yeah, like I said, he does everything well. So, a football team is going to want a player like that. It's like, okay, he could catch, he could run, he could block, he could do everything. So that's why I have him at my RB9.
You can even flex him out, right? You can play him in the slot. You might be able to actually get him on the perimeter matched up against a linebacker if they want to play man. You know what I mean? There's some things you can do with Sean Tucker, particularly in space. Drew, let's move on to Roschon Johnson, your 9th ranked running back in the 2023 class. What do you like about him? What are folks missing out on, considering that we didn't get to see a ton of him? You know what I mean? What we did see, we liked, but of course he's playing behind Bijan Robinson, so his opportunities were limited. What did you see on tape that made you compelled to put him in your top 10?
Am I echoing now? Do I sound echo? I'm good?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All
Nice,
right.
sultry and sexy now. Let's go.
All right. That's what's up. That's what's up. Somebody hit me down in the comment section. Let me know. So for Roschon, he's an athlete playing the running back position. Can make you miss. He was used as a wide receiver in a few plays, and he looked good doing it. Nice hands, easy hands. Always falling forward. 6'2", runs with great contact balance. I know when Hadley first saw him, he's like, "Yo, have you seen Roschon?" He kind of said it like, "Forget about Bijan." No, I'm just kidding. Can't forget about Bijan. He played kickoff, so he played some special teams. So that speaks to his ability to be explosive and be a playmaker with the ball in his hands. A big, solid frame. And I just like the ball in his hands, man. I think he's a dangerous player with the ball in his hands. And I wish I'm going to say it again. My 10 guy, number 9 guy, I wish he got more of a chance. But obviously sitting behind Bijan, you're going to get what you get.
Yeah, Hadley, I know Drew alluded to it. You mentioned Roschon. You were like, yo, I think Roschon could be a better pro than he is a college player, just given the opportunity. What do you think? What do you think the consensus is as far as the NFL is concerned?
Yeah, man. When you're that big and that fast, you can help in the pass game. You can block. He's going to have a definite role at the next level. I think he's going to be a better pro player than a college player. Like Drew said, he was behind Bijan Robinson. When he's be able to unleash, we've seen guys on the next level that were like backups in college. This unleash, what's it about? Priest Holmes and those boys over there. They had that crazy backfield. I think it was Texas also, right?
Yeah,
if I'm not mistaken. So yeah, man. So it's the same scenario where these boys he's ready. He's ready for the next level. He just need a chance. He just need an opportunity. And at the next level, I think a team will give him that.
All right. Moving on to the 8th ranked running back for Headley and Drew. We have Tank Bigsby. So Drew had Bigsby 10th among his running backs. Headley, you have him ranked 8th. And then Zach Charbonnet, Drew, you have him as your 8th running back. I want to start with you, Drew. And Zach Charbonnet, your thoughts on the running back?
Yeah, I wasn't sure what I was going to see when I watched Zach Charbonnet. Matter of fact, he's a guy who actually should have came out. People were thinking he would come out the year before, but he decided to stay. It's probably the best case scenario for him. I mean, it's a tough running back class. I think maybe he should have come out. I don't know. But he's a fun watch. Outstanding when he gets out in the open field in terms of that burst that he has. I'm just going to read a couple of these notes. I put here, may have the best vision in the country. Hit me down in the comment section if you disagree. Vision, patience, burst, rinse and repeat. Y'all know about that. Does the little things right. Press the whole defense, steps up, commits, and then he can take that little side step, makes that defender, whether it's a safety, linebacker, corner, whomever it is, has them commit, and he's able to take that side step, that slight step up, and then just be out the way, man. He knows how to set defenders up at the second level, behind the line or right at the line of scrimmage, making that last minute move, and he does it over and over and over. And I think that's probably his best attribute outside of his vision, because he knows what he wants to do, man. He's not an overly fast guy. I think we kind of saw that at the combine. I wasn't expecting him to run the 40 with outstanding speed, but I think he has that initial burst that you want from the running back position. And he's a guy, he can run you over. So if you're not ready, he can turn that speed to power or quicks to power, whatever you want to call it, in an instant and run somebody over, man.
Drop that shoulder on him. Hadley, Bigsby, your thoughts on the SEC back?
Yeah, the first thing I wrote in my notes, I was like, yo, he's a tank for real, because he's so low to the ground. He moves with a purpose, effortlessly, with lean. We talk about running backs with a lean, man, and what that means is just you run low, you run behind the pads, you always fall forward, you run through tackles, and he possesses that. And then also he has this jump cut and quick twitch. He does it all the time, man. He leaves defenders on skates a lot. It's that quick shake. He grinds between the tackle. He's patient. Like I said, he can stop on a dime, make defenders look silly. The only thing, he runs hard. The only thing I see a little bit, I know he ran that 4.4 that pro day, but when he makes that cut, I don't think he's explosive out of his cut. we see guys like Dalvin Cook at the next level. Once they cut and they explode, it's really quick. He gets there really quick. So I think Tank is probably missing that a little bit. But yeah, man, I think if he didn't play for Auburn, I think a lot more people would be talking about him. I think the Auburn, the football team didn't do as well this season. But if he was like an Alabama or one of those other schools, man, I think he'd be talked about a lot.
All right. So Bigsby just Bigsby, the one common entry to this point among your rankings. We move on to RB7. And Drew, I don't know how you omitted my guy, but Hadley got him. Hadley got him. All right. Izzy Abanikanda.
Izzy, bro. He's just so dangerous, man. I know he led the college football in rushing touchdowns. He had 20 of those. And this is dangerous in the open field due to his burst, lean and strength through contact, operates well in short spaces to elude defenders. And it's so subtle, too. It's not like he's really shifty and he's just like, doing defenders. It's like he just sees it, man. He just sees the next guy and he just gets by them. And then once he's in the open field, it's six, man. He runs hard. He's always grinding. They'll line him up at wide receiver and run him to the flat. He's not a big time. I think that's where his knocks are. He's not like a big time pass catcher out of the backfield, but he can break tackles. He gets north and south really quickly. He gets skinny through that hole, got the jump step. And the tape is beautiful, man. Because when I first watched him, I was like, okay, Juice put me on him first. And I was like, yeah, I see. He's all right. I was like, he's Devontae Freeman-ish. But then when he got to that open field and he put on those jets, I'm like, okay, he's not the turtle, man. He gets there and he bursts through the line and he gets 6. So, yeah, it's a big-time player, man. And in the right system, that zone read system or that outside zone system, yeah, man, he could be really, really explosive.
Yeah, outside zone, one cut system. I think Abanikanda, it's a hand glove situation. He's a young player too. He'll be 20 during his rookie season. And good size. The thing about it is that we haven't gotten a chance to see him. I believe Pitt has their pro day next week, and hopefully he'll get to run. If he posts the number that I think he's capable of, I expect him to actually shoot up. I expect the buzz to really pick up as we get closer and closer to the 2023 NFL Draft. Big time breakout season this past season, 2022. He was good in 2021. Of course, Kenny Pickett, Jordan Addison kind of stole the show, but Abanikanda was actually a big part of that offense as well. So really intriguing player. I mean, look at it. You see the size. And like I said, he has the home run speed as well. Hopefully he actually runs at his pro day. So speaking of speed, Drew, we have Devin A-Chain from Texas A&M, and this is a blur. Drew?
I'm here. Listen.
What is happening? What is happening?
Listen, gotta be dramatic, bro. Listen.
Dramatic.
You said it. Speed, bro. Speed. And it's to the point where there's only a few players. When my team is playing that team, then I'm a little nervous, bro. Okay, I'm a little worried. One of the guys that I can think of off the top of my head is Dalvin, right? When Florida State would play the Gators, I'm a little nervous because if the ball touches hands, you get a little bit of space, it's probably a wrap. Devin A-Chain for me is the same way, man. He's a playmaker. I believe in the right system, just like Abanikanda, I believe that he can be a problem and be a concern for defenses, and he's going to have to be a guy you're going to have to keep your eyes on, because with the ball in his hands, especially in space, he's going to make people miss. He can break some tackles now. I know he's a little smaller guy, and I think that kind of hurts him a little bit, but he makes up for it with his speed and his ability to catch the football and make people miss, man. Agile. You talk about, he ran track, yada, 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 and usually when you say somebody runs track, that usually ends up being like a bad thing, or it's just like, okay, well, then maybe he's just a speed guy or a track guy. But no, he's actually a football player. He understands the position on what it takes to play the position in terms of the running back position. So I know he's higher on Hadley's board, but his size for me hurts a little bit. And just some better players that are in front of him, man. But I like A-Chain, man.
All right. Among those players that you consider better than him is Eric Gray out of Oklahoma. You have him as your 6th ranked running back. Hadley has Zach Charbonnet as his sixth-ranked running back. Hadley a little bit higher on Charbonnet compared to Drew. Drew, I'll start with you, and let's talk about Eric Gray. We did get a chance to see him in Mobile, and I know it was a comparison that you use on multiple occasions with an existing NFLer at the running back position, a former Senior Bowl participant as well.
Yeah, y'all know who he is. If you don't know who he is, it's Kareem Hunt, man. And the line I used for him, and going into it, I wasn't really I didn't know what to expect in terms of Eric Gray, because I remember watching him at Tennessee, and I wasn't really impressed, although people kept kind of pushing, oh, he's that guy, he's that guy. He's that Not at Tennessee, I didn't see it. But when he went to Oklahoma, man, he looked like a completely different player, man. And listen, that boy like a wet bar of soap, bro. Don't drop the soap, B. That like he's something different, man. And I don't know if it's just how I see players at time, or it's just something that I key on. But when players are able to get thin or narrow and be able to make people miss, I think that's special, whether it be at the D-line position or whether that be at the running back position, to make people miss. And when he's in open field, open space, bro, he's a hard get, man. I think I don't know, man, not to say Oklahoma it's not obviously a bad school for football, obviously, but I don't know, man. I just don't think he got the run the run that he should have gotten, at Oklahoma. But let me read off some notes here, man.
Gotta read them.
I'm gonna push back, but before you get into the notes, I'm gonna push back on that. I mean, as you can see, he was heavily involved in the offense this past season, right? He's a transfer from Tennessee. What I kind of want you to refine that comment as far as you don't think he got the run that he deserved at Oklahoma. Is it a volume thing, or is it
I'm sorry. I misspoke.
Yeah.
Not in terms of the run at Oklahoma. I mean in terms of the love, because people were pushing him,
gotcha.
And then it just kind of just stopped.
Right.
Like maybe it's just they kind of moved on to other players and they were kind of done with that part of their evaluation. But I haven't heard people talk about him lately, so maybe it's out of sight, out of mind thing. That's what I mean. I didn't mean like at Oklahoma, right? But and because they did kind of fall off though. They was kind of running it, and then the team wasn't good, and then had quarterback issues. Anyways, I put special. He is special with the ability to get narrow at the point of attack. When the contact occurs low and falls forward, can move the pile. He's never able to get a square hit on the guy. And that speaks to his, ability to kind of evade and get narrow, man. Gets downhill quick, fast, and in a hurry. And you saw this routinely, especially in the pass game. Twitch. Without the ball in his hand. So he's out there running routes, or he's a mismatch for a linebacker. He can separate, if you're not on it, he's gonna make you miss without the ball in his hands and be a target for the quarterback. So I really, really like Eric Gray. I love watching players that I'm not 100% sure anything about them, or I've watched very little of them, and then they kind of open my eyes, and he was one of those guys for me.
The only concern, or perhaps the biggest concern about Eric Gray, is going to be pass block.
That's a problem.
That's an area that he has to make some substantial strides in, because he really struggled, particularly at the Senior Bowl. At Oklahoma, as far as what he's being asked to do, the system didn't necessarily call for it quite as much. It wasn't as glaring, but certainly at the professional level, in order to get consistent volume and touches so that he can be the playmaker that he is, he's going to have to improve as far as his pass pro is concerned. Drew talked about Zach Charbonnet earlier. Hadley, your thoughts on Charbonnet?
Yeah, when you watch Zach Charbonnet, first thing that stands out is the size. 6'2", 214. You got it up there, and you expect him to just be one of those big physical power backs, and then you see his feet, and then you see him shake a defender, and then you see him explode, and he's like, okay, a big guy like that shouldn't be that quick, shouldn't be that fast. He runs hard through contact. He has like an old school physical running style. Kind of compared it a little bit to Nick Chubb, where these guys ain't really looking to run out of bounds. Once they hit sideline, we're cutting back in and we're getting yardage. We're making contact. We're running through guys. We're not going to make it easy for the defender. So you see that time after time with Zach Charbonnet on tape. What else I said? He's not as smooth or as fast as Nick Chubb. So I'm not making the comp to Nick Chubb, but it's just that mentality that he plays with that size. Also, I think he runs a little high, but he still gets a little compact. He can shake a defender. He can use in the short passing game. He can rack up yards after the catch. What else I have? Feet in the hole to elude and jump step, and he accelerate to the second level. So I think he's a complete back. He could do it all. He has the size that NFL teams covet, and he has that mentality, that dog that a lot of teams would like as well.
All right, moving right along. RB5, respectively, for Hadley and Drew. Hadley, you have TCU's Kendra Miller, and Drew, you have Muhammad Ibrahim. So Ibrahim was tied for 10th, along with Tyjae Spears for Hadley. Drew is substantially higher on Muhammad Ibrahim. We talked about some of the concerns, right? The workload, the injury history that will, in all likelihood, depress Muhammad Ibrahim's value. But as far as a player, again, as demonstrated in this particular top 10 and certainly by Drew's ranking, really talented ball carrier, not necessarily heavily involved in the passing game, but very, very talented ball carrier. Before we talk about Muhammad Ibrahim, Drew, I'm going to give you some space so you can talk about your guy. Let's talk Kendra Miller, Hadley.
Man, Kendra, I keep saying it. When I watched him, I just kept thinking Dalvin Cook. He's wearing 33, he's wearing purple, so maybe that kind of, got in the way of me thinking Dalvin Cook. But when you put it on the film, man, it's certain characteristics you want from a running back. I think number one thing is patience. Number two thing is vision. And his number three is once he gets that vision and gets in the hole, you got to make a guy miss. And then once you make a guy miss, you got to have the home run speed to get to the end zone. And I think Kendra Miller possesses all of that. And I'm reading through my notes. I didn't even write down a weakness for him, man. Nothing really stood out to me as a weakness. It's hard to bring down. He hits the hole hard and fast. He puts his foot in the ground. His shoulders is always squared. That's something that, sometimes running backs make it easy for defenders when their shoulders are not squared. He's always squared. I say he's not doing the shady, but he's able to cut up and get north and south really quick. Feet, vision, and burst. It's all pluses for Kendra Miller. I think this guy is a starter at the next level, and I think a lot of people need to wake up on Kendra Miller because outside of us, I don't hear much people talking about him.
Drew, the floor is yours, Muhammad Ibrahim.
This dude, Hadley didn't give him enough love, man. I know because he's lower in his rankings, which is fine. I get it. What is number 10 for you, Hadley?
Yeah,
Tied for 10th. The disrespect.
Oh,
real quick, he's not the fastest running back as Juice and Hadley stated earlier. He is older, so that is a thing, and that is a heavy hit on a running back to be older. He's coming off of an injury, obviously, and he had a ton of carries as we talk about. So there's a lot of there is not a lot of tread on the tires, I guess you would say in that scenario. But listen, he had I think he still holds the record. I think he still has it, right? The most 100-yard rushing games in the country.
Like consecutive?
Excuse me, consecutively, yes.
Yep.
It's like 20-something. It might be in the 30s now. I don't even know. Somebody fact check me. But it's crazy, man. I love his patience, man. His ability to get up to the line, to see what's there as he's getting the ball handed off to him, kind of slows down. Feet don't stop. He's waiting for the blocks to set up. And the minute those blocks set up, he is bursting through the hole. There's no hole. He's going to look to make a hole for himself. He gets small. He's not easy to contact. I know he's 5'8", 203. It's kind of that's a good compact size for a running back. But he uses his height to his advantage in terms of staying small and being able to burst through the hole. When he sees the hole, he gets downhill, able to line folks up with blocks in terms of that patience that I talked about. He kind of does the same thing. I don't think he does it at the quickness that Charbonnet does in terms of setting up those second level defenders, but he does it at his pace, right? And is still able to set them up and line them up for the sweet fade, as I like to call it. And for me, in terms of his production, man, that's big because that speaks to his ability to understand the position as a whole. When you talk about catching the ball out the backfield, which he didn't do a ton of, obviously, because that's not what they wanted to do. They had those receivers to get that done. He can be a bell cow, right? And I think he would be an excellent combination with someone who is like he could be the thunder and someone could be the lightning, like a Devin A-Chain or someone with just a little bit more dash and flash to give the defense a different type of running back that they would have to deal with. But I think Muhammad Ibrahim is going to be a steal for somebody late in the draft, man.
Yeah, I agree. He's going to come at a steal. We talked about it. We don't necessarily have to rehash why We think he will slide in this draft, but the talent is there. As far as being a pure ball carrier, he is one of the better backs in a very, very deep running back class here. We move on to RB4, the fourth ranked running back, and it's Deuce Vaughn, man. It's a consensus. Deuce Vaughn is the fourth ranked running back in this class, according to Headley and Drew. And Drew, your thoughts on the diminutive but incredibly effective Deuce Vaughn?
Listen, when you see a guy that size, man, you just like, man, he can't be that effective. Let me explain something to you. If they don't have Deuce Vaughn, that team is not what they are. It's just not, bro. I know he's 5'5", 179, but he's one of those guys, bro, is he can convert that speed to power in an instant. He has the ability to run through you. I'm not going to necessarily say he's going to run over you, but he definitely can run through you. And he was an outstanding weapon in terms of the pass game. Like, he was the offense for that football team. And I understand they got a couple of players over there on the offense, but he was that offense for them, man. And you can see it in the numbers down below.
It kind of reminded me of Darren Sproles. Obviously that's a
I was thinking
throwback.
of him,
but in terms, so Darren Sproles obviously was smaller, not unlike
Right.
Deuce Vaughn. But I don't think they were necessarily the same ball carrier, right?
No.
But as far as what they meant and them being the linchpin to the offense at Kansas State, it was the same. It was the same, man. You don't expect guys that small to carry the mail, and they absolutely did. You know what I mean? I was thoroughly impressed by Deuce Vaughn. I think coming into the season, there was some hyperbole about Deuce Vaughn being the best running back in the country. I'm like, are you kidding me? And then you watch him, and it's like, okay, he ain't the best running back in the country, but he's among the best.
Yeah.
He's a special player. You know what I mean? So, yes, the size will obviously depress and scare certain organizations off, but I think he'll be a difference maker. You get him in the right system, pair him up with a bigger back, and he can do damage. What about you, Heather? What are your thoughts on Vaughn?
Yeah, I think this is a CPGM favorite right here. He's one of my favorite backs in the class. He has a special skill set as a dual threat back, running the ball and catching the football. I think maybe just Bijan. I like Bijan, Gibbs, and Deuce Vaughn. I think those are the three best probably pass catching backs in this class. And his cutting ability to make guys miss in tight spaces is so impressive, man. Because you see guys you could juke one guy, but his juke moves is consecutive. He could shake one defender and then shake the next defender just in a split second, and then he put on the Jets. It's interesting to see what he'll run at the 40. I'm not sure if he did it at the combine. I don't think I've seen that, but we'll see him at the pro day. But he's a smaller stature guy, and that's why he's going to fall to. I wouldn't be surprised if he's a day 3 pick. He should probably be a day 2 pick, but because of his size, I think teams are going to take him off the board. But like I said, you can use him out of the backfield as a dual threat back, and he kind of get lost in the trenches because of his size. It's like, we can't see him behind those big offensive line, and then he just explodes. And then when you come up on him, he'll shake you and then shake another defender. And I seen him line up and run a slant and high point a ball one time. He's 5'5", and I saw him high point a ball off of a slant. So, the tape is impressive. If you want to look at a game, look at the Oklahoma game. He just did it, man. And to me, you could think of him like an Austin Eckler role. I know Austin Eckler is a little bigger than him, but the role of what Austin Eckler did for the Chargers, and I see a little MJD in him once he breaks through the line and has that speed to go to the house.
All right. I actually really like those comps. That's a nice blend there between Eckler and MJD. We move on to RB3 for Headley and Drew. And there is some dissension in the ranks. Headley has Devin A-Chain. Drew has him in his top 10, but is considerably lower on him. And then Kendra Miller, right? Headley had Kendra Miller as his 5th ranked running back. Drew has him as his 3rd ranked running back. So, Drew, why is Headley too low on Kendra Miller?
I think you just made a mistake, bro. You just need to go ahead and just fess up, bro. You made a mistake. This guy is a complete running back. I think Hadley said it earlier. He reminds me of, and this is gonna be my notes, bro. He's a better version of Kenneth Walker III, bro. He's a better version of Kenneth Walker.
We're gonna have to have a conversation about this.
Okay, well,
he's a conversation about this.
He's a better version of Kenneth Walker III. Except he can actually block in the backfield, and he's physical. Like that's one thing I didn't realize after watching a couple of tapes. Let me watch a little bit more. I didn't realize he was actually more physical. from the standpoint of when you compare those two guys. And so, or just in general, he's a more physical back, man. I don't know. He ain't number 3 for you, but Ryan, I don't understand. This guy is.
I love Kendrick.
No weaknesses, bro. No weaknesses.
Yeah,
Somebody hit me down in the comment section. What are the weaknesses? Because I don't know. We was debating.
Let's stay there. Let's stay there, Hadley.
Okay.
He mentioned Kenneth Walker. Your thoughts? Yeah. Your thoughts in terms of how Miller and Walker stack up?
Yeah, I'm picking Kenneth Walker. I know Kendrick got that burst also, but Kenneth Walker have a buck when he bursts. It's like a physical burst. It's like if you get in front of me, you're getting ran over, and I'm scoring kind of burst. I don't think Kendrick Miller possesses that like Kenneth Walker. I do think Kendrick Miller is a better pass protector than Kenneth Walker. I think he struggles with that. But as far as a runner, I like Kenneth Walker a little more than Kendrick Miller.
Yeah, I think to your point, Drew, you can certainly make the argument that Miller is more complete.
Mm-hmm.
And as much as I like Miller as a ball carrier, I'm not sure I'm prepared to go that he's a more gifted ball carrier than Kenneth Walker.
Well, I'm gonna need you to go to the store and get your stuff, bro. Get ready.
All right. I respect it. Hadley, you've been a Devin A-Chain guy from day one. He's been, your RB3 for as long as I can remember in this particular class. Why are you so bullish on Devin A-Chain?
It's hold your breath. Every touch, you got to hold your breath. It's not many running backs. You got to hold your breath on every touch. And A-Chain is one of those guys, a track star, but he's a football player. And that was most impressive. I remember the game against Miami where he just took over that game. It was like, let's get the ball to A-Chain in the pass game. Let's hand the ball off to A-Chain. We're going to do everything with A-Chain. Miami knew what was coming, and they couldn't stop him. He's shifty. Movements look easy to find a crease. I think the system will be big for A-Chain. That outside zone system, I think he needs to play in that because once he puts his foot in the ground, that one-cut system works wonders. He kills angles. Like you think, I got the angle on him. I'm gonna catch him on the sideline, and he just keeps going, man. And I think the smaller frame, that's the only thing that's holding him back. It's probably why he's gonna get into day 2, day 3, maybe. But I think any team that drafts him and put him in that right system, it's gonna be a steal, man. He's one of those guys that can run for 1,500 in the right system.
All right, there you have it, Devin A-Chain. Get him on your roster. We move on to RB2. And again, there's a consensus, and certainly, if you've been following along, there won't be a surprise here at RB1. But let's talk about Jamir Gibbs, Hadley. Your thoughts on what he can do at the next level, and what do you like about him?
Yeah, watch the tape at Georgia Tech, and he was my RB2 coming into the season, and when he transferred to Alabama, nothing changed. It just people got to saw him more, so he's more in the spotlight, and he was raising everyone's board. I was almost willing to go as far as he's 1A, 1B to Bijan Robinson. I kind of pulled back a little bit. I couldn't disrespect Bijan, but Jamir Gibbs got the easy speed. His feet stands out. I got him a Kamara-like because of his ability to burst and his contact balance. If you know anything about Alvin Kamara, it's a contact balance, and Gibbs has the same thing. Also, the catching out of the backfield, you could put him out. He can run slants. He can run routes. Like I said, it's Bijan, him, and Deuce Vaughn as the best 3 pass catching backs in the class. Also, momentum. He has good contact balance, power to strength, runs with a lean with speed, runs the crisp routes out of the backfield, open field burst. Is aware to pick up blitzes. He's not the best pass blocker, but when you see the tape, he's aware. He knows where the blitzes are coming from. He get in front of those guys. So that versatility to catch the ball, run the ball, and also block, I think is incredible. And also that choice route. The choice route is unstoppable for him. Like two-way go. Am I going inside or outside? The linebackers, you just can't keep up with him, man. They don't know where he's going. And then once he catches it, it's 6 again. He's going to score a touchdown because he's that explosive. So yeah, man, he's a first round guy for me. He probably might not get in the first round, maybe at the bottom, the Eagles or some of those teams, but this guy's a first round guy for me.
Yeah, easy, man. Easily explosive, extremely dangerous in the open field. That boy fast and can hit top speed quick. Runs behind his pads with a lot of violence, I believe, especially at Georgia Tech. Feet don't stop because of that. The man is hard to tackle. I believe is the total package. He also played kickoff return, so he can play some of that too. One cut killer. I don't think he's just a one cut killer, but he has that ability if you want to put him in that system, right? Has some short area quickness, has the ability to bounce it outside and get more than what is there. Top tier jump cut. He's decisive when he's making those cuts. If you make a mistake, it might be night. The first contact usually doesn't take him down. So he's kind of he's slippery. I don't know if Hadley mentioned it, but he's like Gumby, or we're gonna liken him to Pokey. I don't know who that is. Pokey. Look it up. Gumby
Kamara is Gumby.
Right.
Gibbs is Pokey. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Look it up. I know that's old school. We dating ourselves, but it is what it is. Has the ability to press the hole, and you know what that does for you. Sets up that second and third level defenders. And Hadley talked about in terms of his hands, man. He's a complete package. I think you would want him a little bit bigger, a little bit taller in terms of the position, but he plays the position as you're supposed to play it. When you talk about him, I know Hadley was talking about earlier in terms of him being able to block. When it comes to the running back position, I don't need you to be out there annihilating linebackers and safeties and defensive linemen. I just need you to do enough so that the quarterback can be protected and get the ball off, or the play can go according to plan. And he does that, right? Or if you have the willingness to do it, I can teach you the techniques so that, you can give that time. So he does that enough for me, and he's a complete player, man.
All right. And, of course, that leaves us with the man, the myth, the legend, Bijan Robinson, RB1, Headley and Drew, a substantial grade for Bijan Robinson. Before you get into your individual analysis, with respect to Bijan, how do you think, where would you rank Bijan as far as the last several draft classes in terms of the top back? So obviously we have the fabled 2017 class. Are you going with Bijan, or are you taking the field?
Going with Bijan.
What about Saquon Barkley?
Going with Bijan.
Oof. Oof.
Going with Bijan.
Going with Bijan.
Yeah,
All right. I'm gonna go back a little further. Elliott or Bijan?
Bijan.
Gurley or Bijan?
All right, now you're doing too much.
I'm doing too much now?
Yeah.
That's you got to think about that one a little bit, huh?
I'm probably going to take Gurley.
Okay. What about you, Hadley?
I'm taking Bijan over Gurley.
Over Gurley.
I'm taking Bijan over Zeke. I'm taking Bijan over Saquon.
In the field in 2017.
I can't do Dalvin Cook. I'm sorry.
Wow.
We get switch stops, bro. Of course, bro.
I can't, man. I'm sorry. I witnessed Dalvin Cook at FSU. I witnessed it. I seen him against y'all teams. Florida State and Miami and Florida. I seen him against y'all.
We did
seen him in the big games. But that's the only guy. But everybody else, man, I'll take Bijan over. I think he's, they throw out the word generational talent a lot, but Bijan's a generational guy. I got him as top 3 in this entire class. He's not going to be drafted in the top 5, top 10 because of the nature of the position. You know how it is now in the NFL, but he's a top 3 talent, man, behind Jalen Carter, Will Anderson. Yeah, he's right there with those two guys. And just the natural route running ability. I watched him last year, and it was like, I thought Reggie Bush. That's another guy we didn't mention, too, because Reggie Bush in college was different. You know what I'm saying? So I thought Reggie Bush.
Look who's ear hustling. Look who's ear hustling. Always ear hustling in the fantasy.
That fantasy league.
Always.
But I liked him to Reggie Bush because when he gets off tackle and gets in the open space, it's reminiscent of Reggie Bush from USC. Also, Christian McCaffrey is another comp because of his natural route running, his hands out of the backfield. He's one of those running backs that catches it on the move like a wide receiver, gains that additional yardage, make a man miss. And I think that's the most important thing for a running back, to make a guy miss, and he does it. He does it time after time. And it's kind of like when you watch, I'm going to bring up 2 other running backs from the past, also beasts. Marshall Faulk, LaDainian Tomlinson. The guys I'm not looking at the guy that I'm juking right now. It's the second and third guy that I already have my eyes on. He's just ahead of the game, man. So it's just so many superlatives, man. We can't stop talking about him. I'm gonna let Drew get in though. Get in on Bijan, Drew.
A guy that size with that speed and I like to call it small feet, bro. Where I'm in a phone booth with you, bro. You ever seen them ridiculous? I don't know what country this is because it can't be America. It can't be. Where they got guys in a phone booth and they fighting in the phone booth, bro. You ever seen that? That thing's vicious, bro. I don't want no part of that. But he's in the phone booth, bro, with the defender. Whether it be I just received the handoff and somebody didn't block or it's a free, and he's able to make that guy miss. It's unworldly. Like, I don't understand how that happens.
They didn't lay a finger on him.
Didn't lay a finger on him.
Yeah.
Like you think, oh, he's gonna get lit up. Not Bijan. No, sir. I'm gonna make you miss. I'm gonna hit you with the ole. I'm gonna do the step back. I'm gonna do the side step, and I'm gonna make you miss. And then I'm gonna go get these yards that I'm supposed to get. And I think that's different. When you talk about a generational player, this is the kind of stuff to talk about. And Hadley named a couple of Hall of Famers in terms of the running back, in terms of the things that he does. He's like a mutant. He's a bunch of different players put into one player, and he's one package player. I don't know how he ain't better than Dalvin when you say all of that, but listen, I don't know who's gonna have him or who's gonna get him, but I hope the rich don't get richer when we talk about the Chiefs, the Eagles, and the Bills. Just hope the rich don't get richer when they get this guy, because he's an absolute difference maker. Whether it be in the backfield, whether it be in the slot, whether it be out wide, whatever it is, man, he's more than a running back, and that's why he's running back one for us.
Yeah, the conversation regarding Dalvin, I don't think Bijan invoked the same level of dread, right?
Yeah, that's.
But in terms of his overall game, top to bottom, I think he's a better player. I think he's a better player overall, especially when you factor in what he does in the passing game. Dalvin is competent in the passing game, but Bijan could go out there and run a skinny post. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's nothing. Like, that's what he does on a regular basis. You know what I mean? When Dalvin got in space, it was kind of like, oh, okay, well, it's a wrap. So I think that's the difference. I think that's the difference for me. It was interesting that you brought up the names Falk and Tomlinson. Of course, Tomlinson is one of my favorite running backs of all time. Bijan doesn't have the same size nor the same, burst at that particular level as a Tomlinson, but there is similarity to the game. And then, of course, when you talk about Marshall Faulk, what he did as a dual threat back, you see flashes. You can see elements of both those Hall of Famers in his game. I mean, there's a lot of hyperbole around Bijan Robinson, but for good reason. And when we talk about, Drew, you really went in and you talked about the close quarters aspect of things and being able to make guys miss. That probably is his greatest superpower. But the control, the smoothness, that he's not very demonstrative, right? It doesn't look like he's ever running very hard, and that in of itself is kind of really impressive. And I think people get lulled to sleep. They don't realize exactly how explosive he is because he doesn't seem to be running all that hard. So yeah, very, very special talent there. That's going to do it for our top 10 running backs, Hadley and Drew's respective top 10 running backs. We're going to switch gears to the cornerback position now. But before we do that, we did get an inquiry here regarding the Raiders moving up to grab C.J. Stroud. What's you guys hearing anything in the tea leaves? What's the word? I mean, I think they should. That's my thought process. But what do you think?
Well, they gotta hope that the Panthers don't pick C.J. Stroud at number one. You can't move up past number one. So, but if they drop to number two, Houston's not going to trade him. So I doubt that the Raiders can trade up to get C.J. Stroud, because the first two picks C.J. Stroud should be off the board by then. So I don't see it. What about you, Drew? Mr. Mute? CPGM Mute?
Yeah. Yeah. He forgot where the mute button was.
No. I was looking up something because I want to throw in some context. So
please.
And I was on mute. I didn't know it was on mute. But so you went out and didn't they sign Jimmy G? They could cut him after this year and take an $18.75 million dead cap hit, I guess. It's possible. They're kind of right there. For CJ, it might be for a quarterback. I don't necessarily know if it'll be for CJ. Again, the Panthers are right there. They kind of have their pick of the litter. According to Thomas Davis, it's going to be AR, but according to everybody else that I see, it's CJ Stroud. So I'm not sure how that's going to go, but if
it's unlikely. It's unlikely
because they're gonna have to give up a lot. They're gonna have to give up a
Yeah.
lot to move up to grab him. And once
they have a
one
lot of work to
quarterback's
do.
off the board, it gets a little bit more nerve wracking in terms of I would imagine they're gonna have to do it before the draft.
I think it's an outside opportunity. Number 3, Arizona. I think they might be looking to trade out. If Stroud drops to number 3, I think that's the sweet spot for the Raiders trading up.
Yeah.
All right. Let's turn our attention to your top 10 cornerbacks. Again, for those of you just joining us, quick look at our NFL Draft Prospect Grading Scale. This is the CPGM scale. Again, if you see a grade of 1, then you're like us. You're one of us. You're a couch potato GM, undrafted, all the way through day 1 Hall of Fame. So just a little context there as you see the grades associated with each of these players in Hadley and Drew's rankings. All right. And we started off with cornerback 10. Hadley, you have an actual tie, as a matter of fact, as far as your grades are concerned. Deonte Banks and Darius Rush both get a 7.08 from you. Drew, you give Rush a 7.0. These guys consist of cornerback 10. I want to start with you, Drew. What is it that you like about Darius Rush?
He's aggressive, physical, and he can run the route for the receiver. And you like that from a cornerback. He's about that life in terms of coming up and sticking his head in the run game. My concerns for him, obviously he's number 10, so obviously he's not up there as number 1, but is that he is how does it look after about 8-9 yards? What happens after that? Because if he misses, he gonna miss, because there was some guessing, and if he that's my first note of him. He guesses, so I would rather him play to the technique, play to the scheme versus trying to guess as to what's going to take place. Because if you miss and you're out there on the island by yourself, which corners tend to be, that's a problem. So that's something I think he's going to have to work on. Again, I know he's an aggressive player, but you can't be guessing at the cornerback position, because if you guess wrong, it could be 6.
Yeah, it definitely needs to be calculated in terms of when he takes his opportunities, when he decides to be aggressive. I thought watching him at Mobile, he just showed a level of confidence, considering, I mean, he ran 4.36 at the combine, so he has a long speed, right? So I think that in part gives him that confidence to be aggressive. Now, again, you don't want him guessing per se, but I thought he did a good job of watching the hips of the receivers, understanding, running the routes for them. You know what I'm saying? That to me had nothing to do with guessing. I thought he just took the body language cues from the receivers and understood what they were trying to do to him, and he took advantage of it. I'll be honest with you. I've gone to, I guess, the last 6 or 7 Senior Bowls, been a member of the media, covered the Senior Bowl as a member of the media for the last 4 years, and I've yet to see a corner be that effective in one-on-ones. The one-on-ones are usually, designed for the receivers to really show what they can do, especially the smaller, quick guys. But there's no leverage, there's no help, there's no pass rush, whatever the case may be. And Rush was dominant in one-on-ones. So I think certainly he took whatever it is that he needed to take from in season and applied it to the offseason. I think he's one of those players who's had a terrific pre-draft process. Hadley, your thoughts on Rush before you get into Deonte Banks?
Yeah, you see the height right there, 6'2", 200 pounds. So he has what NFL teams covet. And I think, Juice, you said it, man. The level of confidence that he played with, you just saw it oozing off of him in the Senior Bowl, talking, getting it with his teammates, man, and just getting them riled up when they got down. He just has that, man, that short memory that you need from the position. Because that's one of the best abilities a corner can have. You're all alone on that island, and you won't get beat. It's a passing league, but you got to be able to shake it off, get to the next snap, and have that mindset that I'm not getting beat again. And Darius Rush has that. Sticky cover corner, mirror and match receiver. Like you said, he was running the routes for receivers oftentimes in that one-on-one. But he does have that tendency to get guys behind him. He makes up for him with that 4.3 speed. But sometimes, if you watch the game against Tennessee, and I know a lot of people got with that switch release against Tennessee, Jalen Hyde and those boys, but he kind of blew a couple coverages. He just, wasn't always there. So just got to watch that at the next level about getting guys deep, getting beat. I know you got the 4.3 speed, but at the next level, it's going to be night, man, and receivers going to score TDs on you. So I think that he got to clean that up, man. But other than that, I like him as a prospect.
All right. And your thoughts on Deontay Banks?
Deontay Banks. I know some people might get at me. I might have him too low. I know Bucky had him as one of his top corners in the class, and I like Deontay Banks. The size, he's 6 foot. I thought he was a little taller than that, but 6 foot is still good size. Quiet feet, shows patience. He has that size speed duo. He's another guy that ran 4.3 like Darius Rush. It's just the only question marks for me right now is just ball production. When his back is to the football, I don't think he finds it as good. I think Rush actually did a little better job of finding the football than him. But the traits, the size, the speed, the sticky coverage, the feet, I think he possesses all of that, man.
All right. We move on to your ninth ranked running back, ninth ranked cornerback, and this may come as a surprise to some. Kelee Ringo. You guys actually have a consensus here. You can see Hadley and Drew's grades. Why? I mean, obviously he makes your top 10. When you talk about the size and the ball skills, it certainly is there. The speed is there. What's the concern here with Ringo being as low as cornerback 9?
It's two things. One is, and we've talked about it numerous, and Hadley will probably make mention to it in terms of visibility to the want to in the run game. Again, you're a cornerback. I don't need you to go out there and tackle the guy coming around the corner, but I need the effort there. And at times he's not even in the screen. At times he's not getting off blocks. Again, we don't know if that's a business decision, but that's a mindset for me, right? I don't. As big as you are, as fast as you are, I need you to be in the screen, bro. Make a play. Do something. Throw your body. Something. Give me something. I'm just looking for something, man. And the other thing, and this is the thing I noticed immediately about watching him, he's extremely physical and feisty, and he's all the way down the field with that. And in college, you can get away with that. In the NFL, that's pass interference, that's holding, that's illegal contact, whatever you want to call it. So he's going to have to trust his technique because he has all the attributes you want from the position. He just has to be able to trust that technique. And through some through all the games he's played, he just hasn't quite trusted his technique, man. So I'm not sure what's going on there.
Yeah, when I watched Ringo last season, I had him cornerback 1 coming in. The 2021 tape was impressive. And I'm not sure what happened last year, 2022. I don't know if it was a confidence thing. He got beat a couple times. He got lost in coverage a couple times. Because when you watch the 21 tape, you see he's in phase. He's always in the receiver's hip pocket. Smart, instinctive. He understands his assignment. He could travel. I saw him outside, inside. He was pretty much locked down in 2021, and then 2022 came, and then I started seeing like the missed tackles, maybe like you said, business decisions. Like, I don't want to get hurt out here, but like you said, Drew, that's a mentality thing because a lot of these other corners above them, they don't play like that. They're physical, they tackle, they want to, they got that dog in them, and Kelee Ringo just disappointed me this year. But the traits are there, like you see, 6'2", 200. He could locate the football. He could attack the football at the highest point. Got really good ball skills. You just got to clean up that tackling. And the good news is, I think that could change at the next level. He should be a first-round pick because of the traits, the size, the ball skills. But he just got to clean up that at the next level.
All right, we move on to cornerback 8 here, and you guys are split. You guys are split on this one. Hadley, you have Trevius Hodges Tomlinson, the cousin or nephew. I'm not certain. I don't recall. Nephew of LaDainian Tomlinson. And Drew, you have Clark Phillips III. Now, of course, in season, Clark Phillips had a ton of ball production. He was rising up people's rankings. Of course, his pre-draft process hasn't been quite as good. When you look at the film, Drew, what are your thoughts on Phillips?
Like you spoke about in terms of his production, he tracks the ball well. So I think he's a corner that's going to have to play with his eyes on the cornerback. Because in my notes, one of the things I have is he's an athlete playing cornerback. So he's just kind of out there still trying to figure it out. If I'm not mistaken, and somebody hit me in the comment section, I think he was a former receiver, if I'm not mistaken. I could be wrong. Just, getting my wires crossed here. But he just has more to learn from the position in terms of technique, in terms of just being consistent at the position. Because when he's doing it right, he's outstanding. But again, it's just not consistent enough. And when you talk about the cornerback position in terms of if you're going to be small and not, I'm not going to call him slow, but if you're going to be small and not fast, right? You got to be your technique. Everything has to be right? Because you don't have the luxury of making up anything if you don't have the speed or if you don't have the size to make plays, right? But he's got the production, so he see football, go find football. So that he has that there, but it's just he's got to be more consistent from the position, man. It's just it's a little frustrating to watch him, man. And I think he played. I thought he played better this year than last year, because he was kind of he's taking steps. He's improving, man. Maybe if he stayed another year, maybe we're talking about a different player. But hey, man, do what you do. Get out there and make your money, man.
Hadley, Tomlinson, obviously a lot of production here. Drew made mention of Phillips' size. Of course, Tomlinson is actually smaller. Your thoughts on him, and what role do you expect for him at the NFL level?
Yeah, Trevius Hodges-Tomlinson, love the tape. Just the size concerns. You said 5'8", 178. Teams might want to play him inside. Outside, though, I saw him compete against 6'5", 6'6" receivers. Mm-hmm. Get up there. He's feisty at the catch point. He has really patient feet, sticky defender. Sometimes it might be a little too sticky. You got to watch at the next level for holding down the field. But the hips are fluid. I love his click and close ability to blow up screens. He reads the quarterback eyes. He jumps routes. Like I said, I like him outside on tape, but at the next level, he might have to slide inside 5'8", 178. And also, I'm gonna bring up a name because I see a lot of similarities in their game. There's a guy that I had cornerback one. I think a couple of us had his cornerback one, Jair Alexander from Louisville. His size was an issue. People talked about his size also. He's not as Hodges-Tomlinson is smaller than him, but I know when Alexander was coming out, people talked about his size, and he's impressed ever since he's been in Green Bay. So, sometimes the size, man, when you got that heart and you're feisty at the catch point and you got that vertical leap to get up there with those 6'5" receivers, sometimes the size don't matter, man. And I like Hodges-Tomlinson a lot.
No, hell of a football player. Are you anticipating Phillips moving inside as well, Drew, Hadley?
Yeah, I think Phillips inside, or it got to be zone cover 2 if he's going to be outside.
Yep.
Okay. All right, fair enough. I never really understood the knock on Alexander for his size. It wasn't as if Denzel Ward was this behemoth at the cornerback position either, right? And when it came to physicality, I think it, outside of a couple highlight reel type hits, Alexander was a more physical player. So that never really made a whole lot of sense to me. We move on to cornerback 7, and you have it reversed, right? So at cornerback 8, you had Tomlinson, Hadley, and Drew had Phillips. At 7, you have Phillips, Hadley, and Drew has Tomlinson. And interesting enough, you guys actually have the same grade for these two players, right? It's just in the reverse. It's odd. It's odd how that worked out. Your thoughts on Phillips, Hadley?
Yeah, these guys are both smaller guys. These guys, the tape impressive, but at the next level, they're going to get – I wouldn't be surprised if Phillips drops to day 3. Hodges-Tomlinson maybe drop to day 3 because of the size. I think a team, whoever drafts him, is going to get a steal. But Clark Phillips, man, just made play after play. He's very instinctive, especially in the zone. The ball skills, you saw it, jumping routes, reading quarterback's eyes, quick twitch at wide receiver stems. He kind of runs the route sometimes for receivers. Guys made a living off of that at the next level. Like Asante Samuels made a living off of that. Just being able to just read the quarterback eyes, jump in the passing lane, catch the ball, and get to things. So size and speed, if you have that gifted ability to attack the football and read quarterback's eyes, it's not a big deal. I think Clark Phillips does have some things to clean up in his game. What I had for him was against man, he's not as sticky against man. Sometimes he doesn't come up and make the tackles. I want to see more physicality from him. He'll blow guys up sometimes, but just more consistent, bringing that physicality. Yeah, man. But like I said, man, that breaking on the ball, reading the quarterback, that's special talent because a lot of corners in the league, even the better ones, maybe say like a Jalen Ramsey, they don't read quarterback eyes and attack the football and turn the football over as much as Clark Phillips will.
Yeah, that could change the tide of a game. It could change, how you see a particular player. But when you're rating 2 or 3 players, if you can be a playmaker, that's huge, man. But in terms of Trevius Hodges-Tomlinson, Hadley kind of spoke to everything that he is. He is a smaller player. You said who was the comp you said he was? Jair.
I see some Jair in this game. Yeah,
I was thinking it, and Drew said it. I got my notes. I got Denzel Ward. His ability to kind of stick in your hip pocket, that click or not click close, but stick in that hip pocket and kind of just stay near because he knows. And to me, he knows that he's a smaller player. So I'll fight with you at the line, but I'm not trying to hem you up. Right, I'm trying to slow you down, sit in your hip pocket, and then when the ball is thrown, I can go and try to make a play on the football, right? And his size comes into play when you talk about down the field, the ball's up in the air, and obviously the receiver is bigger, taller, can go up and get it. But that receiver gonna have to fight to bring that ball down because he's gonna be right up there with him, trying to make a play on the football, trying to separate ball from man, and he has late hands, so he's not panicking or anything like that. When the ball's in the air, he's trying to go up, he's trying to knock it down, man. And if you're going to be that small, and if you're not going to be too fast, you got to be physical. You know what I mean? And he's got that in spades, and he's got that kind of that Jair in terms of, I don't care, bro. Like, I'm here. I'm going to let you know I'm here, bro. I'm going to be in your ear. I'm going to let you know. I don't know if you're going to feel me in terms of me hitting you, but you're going to know I'm here. It's going to be a concern for the receiver. I think he can play inside, outside. Probably he's got to tighten up on the tackling. Got to tighten up on the tackling. I'm gonna leave it. I'm gonna say he can play nickel. I'm gonna say gingerly. He can play nickel, but I definitely think he can play outside.
I have a sneaking suspicion that these two guys are going to be really good at the next level.
Yeah.
Right? They're going to play inside. They're going to be pigeonholed inside because Clark Phillips has the technique issues. He's not necessarily all that big. Hodges Tomlinson, a cleaner prospect from a technical perspective, but even smaller. So I think NFL organizations are going to move them inside, but if they're willing to stick their nose in there and run support, I think that short area instincts and ball skills and being able to get their hands in there and disrupt, I think they can be really good players. So I'm interested to see where they land and ultimately how they're deployed because I think they can be difference makers. They're not necessarily going to be, the quintessential. I'm gonna follow the top receiver all around the field, right? They're not gonna be those guys, but they strike me as the type of player that's indispensable on your 53-man roster. All right, moving right along, we have cornerback 6, and Hadley, you have Garrett Williams from Syracuse. The often forgotten Garrett Williams, considering his injury, cut his 2022 season short, and then Drew, you have Emmanuel Forbes out of Mississippi State. I want to start with you, Hadley. Your thoughts on Garrett Williams?
Like you said, he kind of got lost in the sauce because of the injury, the ACL injury. We don't know what he looks like. I don't think he's going to be running. We're not going to see how fast he is. So that's the knock on Garrett Williams right now. But, the tape, especially 2021 and part of 2022 when he did play, he'll come up and hit, even if it's selling all the way out, man. We talked about certain guys like Ringo don't have that dog, that physicality, that want to. Garrett Wilson does 100% effort guy, locate the football at the highest point. He flies to the ball carrier. I like how he mixes up his coverages. I think he can play zone because he had click and close ability. He's sticky in man coverage. The only thing I do question is deep downfield in man coverage. I've seen Charlie Jones from Purdue beat him a couple times deep. But, I like him in press, sticky, runs well. And I think one of his best attributes is how he flips his hips. It's very effortlessly how he flips his hips. Just locating the football deep down the field. That's the only thing I question, but he's a good tackler. He possesses everything you want from a corner. 5'10", 192. I think that's pretty good size. And, yeah, he might become a steal also because of the injury, and you kind of got him forgotten about. Nope, mute. Y'all both on mute. Double mute.
Down. Double mute.
I'm trying to tell Drew he's on mute, and I'm on mute. Jeez.
We want to talk about production. We was talking about Clark Phillips III, and we got Mr. Production in Emmanuel Forbes. This guy has 6 pick six. Can't say it right, man. 6 pick sixes. Did I say that right? I don't even know if I said it right. It sounds like coming out of my mouth.
That's it.
Let me just pull up these quick notes. Man got 14 interceptions, secured 22 pass deflections. That speaks to his production, his ability to get his hands on the football. He's one of his issues is he is light, and I don't think that he's a man corner. I think he's a zone corner. He's long and he's a playmaker, and you just have to allow him to make plays, whether it be cover 2, cover 3. I think he passes things off very well in a zone. You know what I'm saying? He you just don't want to let people kind of run by you. You know what I mean? You want to get your hand on a guy, slow him down, kind of guide him away, and then pass him off, and then be able to still be in your zone. And I think he does that very, very well. I think he's an intelligent player. One of his pick sixes, he was going against Kentucky. They ran a play twice. I think it was a screen pass. Within the same drive, he recognized it, said, not happening, picked it off, pick six. So he's an intelligent player, man. So, and in zones in particular, you have to be intelligent because you have to recognize things that are happening so you can, obviously find the football. And he does that very, very well.
All right. Cornerback 5 are the same two corners. Again, not unlike the Clark Phillips, Travius Hodges Tomlinson scenario. You have these two corners, Emmanuel Forbes, Garrett Williams, flipped. So, Hadley, you have Forbes as your cornerback 5, and Drew, you have Williams as your cornerback 5. Drew just spoke about Emmanuel Forbes. Hadley, give me your thoughts on him.
Big time ball skills. He looks like a wide receiver. The ability to high point the ball, like Drew said, 6 pick sixes. I think out of every corner in this class, he's number 1 in ball skills. He plays it like a wide receiver. Prototypical cover 3 guy. I see a lot of Trayvon Diggs in him. You guys like Tyreek Woolen, who the Seahawks drafted last year. I saw him play press and off. But like Drew said, I think his schematic fit is that zone cover 3 corner. But he's not afraid to be physical. Like he says, he'll come up, he'll bump you, he'll throw you off your route. And the concern I have with him is sometimes he comes too physical and he missed a lot of tackles in open field. He got to shore up that tackling, man. Like sometimes you're one of the last lines of defense, and if they get by you, receivers could take it to the house. So he just got to just be more patient, break down a little better, and just make the tackle or just hold guys up until your safety or a linebacker over there. But big time ball skills, man. He's one of my favorite corners in this class.
Interestingly enough, you guys have the same grade for these two guys. Again, that kind of mirrors what happened with Hodges Tomlinson and Clark Phillips. Go ahead, Drew, with Garrett Williams.
Yeah, Garrett Williams is a little bit of a mystery because obviously he was hurt early in the season, torn ACL. So, and I know he was in a lot of people's top 5s in terms of corners, preseason, whatever it is. And in some cases, I think I may have seen him. He might have been some people's number 1 corner. It's just unfortunate he got hurt. But what I have for him, man, he's 5'10". I'm not gonna call small, so let me not say that. He's physical. He has that click and close you want from the position. He's a hip pocket player. He's not looking to hem you up the line of scrimmage. And listen, he's coming to bring that heat, coming downhill to lay folks out or make the tackle Devin Witherspoon style. I just wish we were able to see a little bit more of him. But I think he is, Hadley said earlier, he's going to be a steal for somebody, man, due to the injury. Like people have forgotten about him, kind of out of sight, out of mind. But to me, he's the complete package. I would agree with Hadley in terms of wanting to see that long speed in terms of down the field. But other than that, man, he gonna ball for somebody. Just think about it. Who's Garrett Williams? Don't forget how talented this guy is, man.
Yeah, he's a common draft selection for us at that 3rd, 4th round turn. Mm-hmm. I imagine if he were healthy, obviously we're talking 2nd round at a minimum. But for any of our 7-round mock drafts, if you've watched or tuned into any of those, you often see us targeting Garrett Williams around that period because we think he has day 1 starting capability. Absolutely. We move on to cornerback 4, and you guys have a consensus with South Carolina's Cam Smith. So Darius Rush and Cam Smith, 2 Gamecocks, make your top 10. Hadley, I'll start with you. Why CB4 for you with Cam Smith?
He just plays with an edge, tenacity, click and close. He's ready for the physical parts of the game. That's an important attribute as a corner, just to want to come up and tackle. He plays with energy. He's just an emotional leader on the team. You can see him on the football field just got that dog, it's the Michael Parsons at the corner position, just always coming. He competes all the way through the catch point, gets his hands on receivers, sticky, nonstop motor, click and close. I said that twice, but he just has to be careful on those double moves because he's a very aggressive. So the double moves might get him a little bit, but this season against Tennessee, against Jalen Hyatt, I thought he played him the best out of anybody I've seen in the country. He was able to give Jalen Hyatt like 10, 12 yards of cushion, and on those shorter routes, he'll come up and make a contested bat down, and then Jalen Hyatt couldn't run by him because, this guy is a fast guy, but he's also 10 yards away from you. So, he's off coverage. So that ability to be that far off coverage and click and close and make it hard for receivers, I think that's a special skill set for Cam Smith.
Yeah, and you talked about in terms of how they used him in that Tennessee game, and you know when watching tape from previous years, because I don't think he started this season. I think he was coming in injured or whatever, but or they kind
rotate
of
corners a lot.
yeah, that is true. That is true. That is true. You kind of he kind of gave you. I think you probably have. How I want to say this, man.
I don't know how you want to say
it. Let me think about it. I got it in my mind. I'm trying to. I think in terms of all the corners that I watch, I think I've seen the most zone and man from him evenly in terms of how he was used, because this year I think he played more zone than he did play man. And I think the year previous he played more man coverage, and he is physical. He's about that life. He kind of reminded me in terms of his physicality is not Joe Horn. What's the JC? See, I was going to say Joe. See, I'd be dating myself, but that's terrible. don't look at Joe Horn. Don't look him up. Don't look him up. But he's physical like JC Horn, but I also think he may be the twitchiest cornerback in this class for me that I've watched in terms of that click and close, being able to close in on that space, and being able to play that man, that zone. And I think he is a fantastic tackler as well from the corner position. And I think you're going to be able to do a lot of things with him, whether it be in the slot or out wide. He uses the boundary well, so he understands where his help is at, obviously. He was cornerback 1 for me coming into the season. Just a couple of other guys got a couple better attributes than he does that I like, but I'm high on Cam Smith.
Yeah, and to your point, Drew, I think that was on the strength of the 2021 tape, which is phenomenal. The 2022 tape isn't bad, but 21 was a different animal. So Cam Smith, cornerback 4 for Hadley and Drew. We move to cornerback 3. Actually, and I just want to make sure, I'm not sure that we depicted this. Hadley, you have him considered a first-round prospect at 6'1", 180. So a lot of love for Cam Smith here. CB3 is Devin Witherspoon for Hadley, Joey Porter Jr. for Drew. I want to start with you, Drew. Joey Porter Jr., obviously the legacy. His father, Joey Porter, a linebacker for the Pittsburgh Steelers. I was actually expecting him to be a little bit bigger as far as his weight is concerned, but he represents great size at 6'2.5", 193. What are your thoughts on Porter?
I got big body, plays to his size, long, physical, aggressive, attacks the ball in the air, has short area quickness to recover, and he could be a little too overly aggressive. But from the cornerback position, I'm going to take that. And I'm not talking about down the field. I'm talking about at the line of scrimmage when he gets his hands on you. And he plays in the slot, plays outside. There's no panic when the ball's in the air. I wish he had a little bit more production this year. He didn't have the production in terms of the interceptions, but you see there he has 11 pass breakups, so he can get to the football. But that recovery speed is probably, when you combine that with his physicality, those are probably the top 2 attributes of Joey Porter Jr.
Go ahead, Hadley.
Witherspoon. Cornerback 3, cornerback 2. I got Porter and Witherspoon with the same grade. I don't want Jake to jump on me, man, by this guy Witherspoon. So I got to preface by saying that because Witherspoon's a heck of a player. He's able to get his eyes around, locate the football, catch the ball at the highest point. He's usually in phase always. I know he's only 180 pounds or something like that, and that's going to be the knock on him because of the size. Is he going to get bullied by bigger receivers? But the tenacity that he plays with, man, and the swagger is always on 1,000 with him, man. It's like he's a talker, man. He's going to get in your face. He's going to trash talk you. He's going to tell you how he hits you, how good he is, how you can't catch the football. And he gets in receivers' heads, I think. And when you watch the tape, especially against Michigan, it's just a corner. You're on that island out there as a cornerback. You're not supposed to be making play after play after play in the run game, in the pass game. That's like linebackers or safeties, but he's one of those guys with that mindset of a linebacker and a safety. So, I think some people have him in the top 10. I think Detroit, number 6. That's a destination a lot of people are having him. And I like him in there. The Falcons at number 8. So I don't think he gets out of the top 10, man. I think he's a special player.
Spoon, if I'm not mistaken, was a 0-star recruit, had no D1 offers
Wow.
out of high school, right? And you fast forward, and he's in consideration to be a top 10 pick, top 6 under certain circumstances if Detroit decides to go in that particular direction. So heck of a player, both he and Joey Porter Jr. We flip it at cornerback 2, same players, just reverse order. As Hadley mentioned, he had the same grade for both Witherspoon and Porter. Why do you give Porter the edge, though, Hadley?
I don't really think I give him the edge. They're just two different players. They're two separate players. I think Porter is more, he got the size, like you said, the 6'2". I think they're both physical. I think Witherspoon is more in phase. He's more sticky than Joey Porter. But Porter has that thing where it's called makeup speed, and he breaks on the football and those long arms. Witherspoon doesn't have the size of the Joey Porter. So, they're two different players, but they're both 7.75s for me. Joey Porter, I like his stab, turn, run, locate the football, make a play. I know the ball production wasn't big for Joey Porter. I think that's going to come with the next level. I know the joke is, can he catch? Remember we had that about who was that?
Yeah, we did. We need that soundbite, bro. Need that soundbite.
Mackenzie Alexander, yeah.
Like, can he catch? We're gonna see it at the next level because he's usually in phase. And what really gave me the nod with Joey Porter is when I saw him against Marvin Harrison Jr. I might call him Marvin Harrison Jr. the second, but Marvin Harrison Jr. He played him well. He played him well. I thought he played him better than any corner I've seen. And even when Harrison separated, Porter was right there. You're not getting much yards after the catch when Joey Porter is right there. And I liken him to guys like Jalen Ramsey, J.C. Horn, those big physical guys on the outside.
Yeah, Devin Witherspoon, bro. I almost wanted to put him number 1, but I just couldn't because of the size. I gotta ding him, gotta knock him for something, man. But I got in my notes, man. Here, he's playing a different brand of football. He playing a different brand of football than everybody else, man. You're not supposed to do the stuff he does at the cornerback position when you talk about run support, bro. Nobody's looking for that, bro. But he is that guy. And Hadley talked about him playing against Michigan, man. That was a beautiful tape to watch in terms of him playing either outside or in the slot, him playing off coverage, on coverage. Like, he was a problem for them. Like, he was taking away receivers. Like, there wasn't an option for the receiver. And his ability to play off and be able to close in time to separate ball from man is something to behold. And at that size, not to say that he's small, obviously, but when you talk about, Porter and you talk about our number 1, those guys are just bigger and longer. You know what I mean? But he plays like he's bigger and longer. You know what I mean? You're like wondering, like, damn, he ain't that big. He's not that big. He's not in the 6-foot category. But he makes you think that he's that because he's always around the football and in phase and right there, man, to make a play to contend the catch. If he was 6'1", bro, I'm giving him the nod as cornerback 1, but I gotta ding him a little bit.
I gotta ding him a little bit. All right, that takes us to cornerback 1, and we've been consistent here at Couch Potato General Manager with respect to cornerback 1 in season, relatively early in season. We made the declaration. Christian Gonzalez remains atop the cornerback rankings for both Hadley and Drew. Why is that, Hadley?
Got it all. He got the complete package because we talk about guys that could tackle like a Joey Porter, guys with size like a Joey Porter, but then you have the fluidity like a Devin Witherspoon, and he possesses both. He's the best of both worlds. Has a versatility also inside, outside, zone, man. It's pretty much no weaknesses in Christian Gonzalez's game because you'd be like, okay, can he come up and tackle? Yeah, he helps in the run support. He's not going to knock heads off, but he's a really good tackler. And, we talk about cornerback prospects of the past. He's exciting me. He's excited like a Sauce Gardner we saw last year. I have Sauce a little higher than him, but also Patrick Surtain, another guy that came out. And I'm going to throw it back, man, because I was super high on Marshawn Lattimore. And when I see Christian Gonzalez, man, I think when I watched Marshawn Lattimore at Ohio State, just the fluidity, and the knock on him coming in was the ball skills, and he showed the ball skills this season in 2022. What else I have for him? Just I think I said it all. Fluid movement. He blow up plays through blocks to receivers. He's only a sophomore, so he's a younger player. But he helps in run support, closes the ability to time up the blitz, attacks the football like a wide receiver in the air, and man, yeah, he's a complete package, man. He's our cornerback one, and he's been that for a while. I think he should be the first corner off the board. Some people think Witherspoon, but I don't think he gets outside the top 10.
Yeah, I know earlier in this live we talked about Bijan Robinson being a smooth cat, and I think Christian Gonzalez is right along with that in terms of no wasted movement. It looks easy, Juice. I think you spoke about it earlier in terms of, and sometimes we just take these guys for granted in terms of their ability to move and do things so effortlessly that you almost don't even realize it. It's just kind of like, okay, well, that's what it's odd. It's odd. And we take guys like that for granted. And the brother is just smooth, man. Like there's
oily
no
hips. Oily hips.
There's no corner in this class, no safety in this class that's as smooth as this guy in the secondary. And I think maybe people are just tired of talking about him. So they're trying to bring up other guys. So. You don't think so?
I don't think they were talking about him as much as we have, and now I think the buzz is picking up for him after that combine performance.
Listen, I don't see how he's anybody. I don't see how he's not cornerback one, because if you're putting Devin Witherspoon over him, how? Because he can do what Devin Witherspoon can do with the size, right? And he has the size. If you're putting Joey Porter, which I haven't seen Joey Porter as the number one corner for anybody. He's got the speed, he's got the fluidity, he's got it all, man. Like somebody got to explain it to me. If he ain't cornerback one, so you explain it to me. Hit me up. Maybe I'm missing something. Maybe we watched the wrong games, bro.
We had an opportunity to talk to Michael Wilson, or you guys actually had an opportunity to talk to Michael Wilson in Mobile, and Michael Wilson, by all accounts, was the most impressive receiver start to finish. When you talk about the practices as well as the game, I think he put the best week together among the receivers. And you asked him, Drew, who gave him the stiffest competition? Who really gave you trouble? And he mentioned Christian Gonzalez. He said, like you guys just mentioned, he is the total package, right? From a technique standpoint, from a measurable standpoint, from a ball skills perspective, he has the entire game. And in this passing league, he's going to go early. If Arizona wasn't so desperate for somebody to affect the pass rusher, I could see him landing third overall, right? With the likes of Will Anderson out there, I can't imagine that they'll pass him up unless they obviously trade out. They want to get additional draft capital. But he's the type of guy that you say Devin Witherspoon is a top 10 prospect. He's a top 5 prospect in my mind. It may not work out that way because a lot of teams are vying for quarterbacks, but he's a top 5 prospect in this class. Absolutely. All right. That's going to do it, gents. Great stuff. That is Hadley and Drew's top 10 cornerbacks and running backs, respectively. Want a special shout out to Al Paul for chiming in, as well as you, Jake. We'll be back. We'll be back Tuesday. We did do a little bit of a programming change this time around. Typically, we were not going to start at 10. Generally, we're going to start at 9:30. So that's what we're anticipating next Tuesday. Probably run this back. If not, we'll be back into the mock draft bag. We'll see. We'll see. You'll know ahead of time. So be on the lookout. Couch Potato General Manager YouTube channel for Hadley. Drew, this is Juice. We'll see you next